Hello, my name is Eoghan O'Sullivan and I will have the pleasure of hosting this year's HbbTV Symposium, taking place in London on the 14th and 15th of November. This short video is intended for those who are attending the event, and especially if you didn't attend last year's event in Naples, or if you haven't been at an unconference elsewhere, because once again this year, the second day of the symposium will follow the unconference format. The first day, we have a packed conference program for you, lots of great speakers, lots of great topics, lots of great discussions. But on the second day, we'll be putting the ball in your hands, putting the ball in your court, and you will be building our agenda for the unconference. So the question that I'd like you to consider as you watch this video is, what will you get out of the HbbTV Symposium 2024? Because really, it's up to you. It's up to you what you've achieved by the end of the event. What is an unconference then? Well, instead of having everybody in the same room all the time listening to the same presentations, we break into smaller groups for more focused discussions. And we do that based on an agenda that we will build together in London during the event. Some advice for you in brief: if you are considering to pitch and host a session during the unconference, you should think carefully about what you would like to achieve with the session. It's fine to just have a kind of an open discussion, but it's even better if you have a specific challenge or problem or question in mind where you'd like to get to an end result. So come up with some sort of output or document or task that needs to be done, and be outcome oriented when you're thinking about what to call and how to describe your session. Decide on how you're going to structure the conversation to reach that outcome, and again, keeping it quite focused. That seems to be what works well during these events. You should make a big effort to try to hear from everybody who attends your session at least once. Not everybody will want to contribute to the session, but certainly you should give that opportunity to everybody who's in the room. And finally, there will be a flip chart or a whiteboard in the room, in each unconference room, so you should use that to take notes openly, including, we recommend at the start of the session, noting the agenda of the topics and the ground that you're going to cover in the discussion. If you visit tinyurl.com/unconf-advice, you can find a lengthy version of that advice and some information about what seems to work well during unconferences. So, as I say, what is an unconference? Well, I'm going to show you a bunch of photographs to give you a clearer idea of what's going to happen during the event. This is how we start the day, with a big circle, everybody on the same level, in the same space, and that's where we build our agenda. We start with an empty agenda. It's going to look something like this. The one from Naples last year is in the top left of your screen here. And one difference with last year, instead of the 5 sessions that you see in the vertical columns there, 10, 11, 12:45, 1:45, 3 o'clock, we will have 4 unconference sessions this year. That's to space them out a little bit more, give you more time to get from session to session, and also more time to spend in our exhibition area. So that will be one difference compared to last year. So the next thing that happens during the opening circle is the pitching. And this is where we ask you to write the name of your session and your own name on a large post-it note. Join the queue, and one by one I will ask you to pitch your session. And that involves giving a short pitch, certainly no more than a minute, ideally about 30 seconds, explaining what it is you want to achieve from your session. What's the outcome you're trying to get to? What can people expect if they attend your session? And then you stick your session on the agenda in a slot of your choosing. There's no voting, there's no show of hands. If you pitch a session, it goes on the agenda. At the end of the opening circle, we will take a quick look to make sure that it still makes sense. If 2 people have pitched a topic that seems to be basically the same topic, we might, with their agreement, merge those sessions. But broadly speaking, the agenda that we build is the one that is, the sessions remain where you put them on the board. Now, there is the possibility to submit your ideas in advance of the event. We have an interface on the website where you can submit session ideas. These are not official pitches for sessions. They're just ideas, and it's just to give people an idea of some of the topics that might come up during the unconference. If you put something on this form, it doesn't mean it's going to happen in London. You still need to be there. You still need to fill in your post-it note and pitch your session. But you can go there now already and submit your ideas, and it gives people a chance to discuss in advance of the unconference. So what we will have at the end of our opening circle, it's going to take around 45 minutes, I guess, to fill our agenda. We'll have something like this. This was the agenda at last year's unconference in Naples. We will also transfer that as quickly as possible to the website. It will look something like this, so that you don't have to keep coming back to the lobby to find the physical agenda at the end of each session. Then, as I say, the sessions will take place throughout the building in Church House, different rooms around the building, and these will be rather informal. So we will gather however many people attend your event. It could be anything from 4 to 5, 6 people, or it could be up to maybe 30 people in a session. It will depend on the popularity of the topic. It will depend on who's interested in that topic. But I would say the sweet spot is probably something around 10 to 20 people to have a good meaty discussion during the hour-long slot. So these are some photos from past unconferences, a few photographs from last year in Naples here as well. You might spot yourself there. We will ask everybody who's hosting a session to appoint a reporter for their session, and those reports can be filed using a very simple form, again, in the Unconference Hub on the HbbTV website. It's just a short summary. We're not asking you to provide a detailed transcription of the whole session. It's just a short summary with some key takeaways and, importantly, next steps. What action should happen after your session? Who should take that action? And we will come back to that at the end of the day. Those session reports should be filed as soon after your session as you can, and they will appear automatically on the website as the day goes on. And people can consult those reports, and they'll remain in the Unconference Hub for people to consult after the event as well. You can find the session reports from last year's event still in the Unconference Hub from last year's event. We'll end the day with a closing circle. We'll all get back together again in the same circle in the main room, and it will be an opportunity to hear from each session host in brief. Now, what I don't want is a summary of your session, because those summaries should be in the session reports. What I do want to know is, what are the next steps? What are the actions that should be taken, and by whom? And if the person or the people who should take those actions are in the room, well, we'll capture that as well. And we'll make sure that we have something that can be followed up by the HbbTV community after this event. Our closing circle then will be followed by some closing words from our HbbTV chair, Vincent Grivet, and then we will head off into the night. So I want to leave you with these final bits of advice again. Think about how to get the most out of your unconference session if you're hosting it yourself or perhaps helping somebody else to host it. Think about the outcome you'd like to achieve. Decide on how you're going to structure the conversation or the session. Try to hear from everybody who attends your session at least once, and take notes openly. Use the flip chart that you're going to find in the room. As I said, if you go to that URL there, you'll find a more detailed version of that advice. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Church House in London. Thank you very much.